Hello there. This is Sharon Weller coming to you live from Perth, Australia. And I just want to say hello and good afternoon to my viewers that are watching me right now, Bitcoin Scott and Daria Medlock. So hi. I hope you're feeling marvelous, because I'm feeling like I've caught somebody's flu, so I don't feel like actually being here. But I have a topic which needs to be discussed. Anyway, I hope you had a marvelous weekend. I had an awesome day yesterday, caught up with church friends and family, and today, not feeling well and starting a new diet. Of all days, I had to have those two clash. But got to do it. If I don't start now, I never will. Anyway, my topic today, number 55 video, TBC with Sharon Weller, the news. Surprisingly enough, what is the news? When we see it on TV, it's what they want us to see. I mean, the government, they are dictating to the channels about what they want us to see. The sports may be live, but the actual news, what is real and what is not. And so, ouch, sorry. And since I have been doing a lot of investigating, and I am going to cough. Investigating lately, because I want to know where can TBC fit in amongst all this. I hope you can't hear my stomach rumbling. Where can TBC fit in amongst all this, dare I say, anarchy going on? I know when we, I look forward to watching the 6 o'clock news, okay? But there's only one channel out of all the news channels that is actually worth watching. Because on all the other news channels, our local ones as well as our national channels in Australia, I can honestly say, if it doesn't fall into these categories, sex, death, corruption, sex, death and corruption. What else? Those three mainly. If it doesn't fit in one of those three, it doesn't sell. But those three, definitely sex, definitely corruption of any kind. But this is the news that comes on in primetime TV. And then again, they show us news clippets that should not be on there. but according to them, oh, and accidents. And I mean, usually mean car accidents of all kind. So this, and you know, this is it. What really is news? I mean, you don't see a good deed being announced on the news. No, you won't see that. You won't see any, what else won't you see? You won't see good news. You won't see any of somebody created a new vaccine for diseases. You won't see that on the news. But, you know, here's the thing. The vaccine for cancer has already been created. I hate to say it, but it has. I downloaded a video to my Facebook page called Thrive. Now, it is old, about 6 years old, maybe more. It's long, but it's a documentary. And it's really based on 4 things: energy, aliens, economy, and government. And where the people fit in all of that. Where do we fit in all of that? And to understand what has happened over time, you really have to watch it with an open mind. Because I got a shock when I saw what the announcer was saying about, I'll call it as time, what has happened over time. Usually in docos, they are pretty good because they back it up with, they back whatever they're going to say up with facts. Science is a major factor in this documentary. Facts, pictures, inventors, Nobel Prize winners. So when you have all that information and more, and you do a documentary like that, it really opens your eyes as to what has been out there all the time. Now, in the papers, and to be quite honest, I haven't seen a newspaper for quite some time. I was reading news online and I can't be bothered because the government wants you to read their garbage. The news is governed. You know, when we had the Commonwealth Games here, now, and Channel 7 was covering the whole of the Commonwealth Games. I don't know where you live, but right at the end, in the closing ceremony, the female broadcaster who was covering the closing ceremony went against the producers of her channel, which is Channel 7, and kept that cameraman on her because they were told to highlight the entertainment for the closing ceremony. The entertainment, usually at the beginning or the end of a Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, the whatever games, you see the athletes enter, leave. It's all about the athletes. Well, Channel 7 in Australia took it upon themselves to video the entertainment. Not the athletes, which was pretty sad because these athletes are they represent all countries, and they were pretty, I would say they were pretty, they would have been on a very high, especially the ones that were taking home back to their countries any medals, whether it was gold, silver or bronze. But she stood her ground, refused to let that cameraman take the camera off her and view the entertainment like all the other channels did. And she went against the system and says, go to the athletes. That newsreader, previous to being a newsreader, apparently was an athlete herself. So, like I said, what is news and what isn't? And if she didn't go against the system, she would have just conformed to the hierarchy, the owners of the channel, along with everybody else, and thought, hey, we'll show the entertainment. That's more important than seeing the athletes, all these brilliant people who had won for their country. So another thing that we will see a lot on the news is anything to do with the church. Now, I'm not picking at any church in particular, but anything to do with sex in church is on the news. Now, I like to think it's for good things. I know the churches out there do brilliant things too. They do brilliant things. But the hierarchy of some churches think they are above the law. It has been going on for generations. And I believe that's why some of the popes, they resigned from their positions, because it wasn't a too hard basket to fix. Please do not quote me as gospel. Do your own investigations. I'm not knocking the church. I'm just making you aware what the news, what these channels on TV consider as news. It's always going to be doom and gloom they put on the news. It's usually wars, country presidents and prime ministers going to war with each other or threatening to go to war. Starvation is another big topic there. We see a lot of that. A lot of starvation going on. a lot of wars going on. But wars make money for somebody. Starvation is a form of eradication. I mean, there is a lot of horrible things that has gone on with the world. A lot of unnecessary grief that is happening. But now, and unfortunately, if you do your homework, you will find that it comes down to a few families that are causing all this mayhem throughout the world. I know of three families definitely involved. But like I say, do your own investigation on what is news. Now, the other day I was out, and then I happened to end up talking to an aunt of mine who's a Christian. And then I said, "Oh, how was your day today, being a Sunday and all?" And she said, "Oh, talk to my friends, and all we can see is the end time coming." And I just talked, just little gossips and, little chit chats with her. And then I ended the call. I didn't want to take the conversation too far because I already knew in her mind, no matter what I was going to say, I was never going to change her perception of what is real and what is not. And I didn't want to. I wanted her to do her own investigation. So I speak in a game yesterday. I was out with a group of friends. Beautiful day it was. And, all I could see that what's going to happen in the future was they didn't see a future really. And that's the sad part about it. That they couldn't see one. Now, I'm not a pessimist, but I do like, if I'm going to say something, I have a look, I investigate, okay? I wanted to tell them the answer is right there. The answer to mankind's problem. Well, we hold one of the answers, actually. We don't hold the answer, we hold one of the answers. Because if truth be known, energy was created a long, long time ago, and that is power. And I don't mean power as in the richest person holds the power. No, I mean power, electricity. So think of all the third world countries, think of power, And the third world countries need not be third world anymore. Anyway, I want to tell her, and I'm going to, but not yesterday was not the right time. Because when you're in a group of ladies and they're in that mindset, they have tunnel vision, and you can't waver that thought of what they see. So that yesterday was not the right time to tell them about TBC. But you know what? And here's the thing. There is 3 families that would be Rockefeller, Morgan and Rothschild that pulls the strings of every man, woman and child on earth. Please, please, please do your own investigations. So when it comes to the TBC, when we cap at the billionth person, we will have 1 million billionaires, not 2,000 that holds the purse strings right now, but we will have 1 million billionaires, and who knows how many billions those million people will hold. That's not to mention the billion millionaires that will be out there as well. Goodness knows, they will be multi-millionaires. So what is news? All the bullcrap we get fed on the news, or through a little bit of investigation, we really find out what the truth is that has been hidden from us. I mean, the saddest part about all this, the craziness, is energy was created a long time ago. Every house in the country, around the world, would have had their own power, because they wouldn't have had to rely on power lines to hook them up. There was a cure for cancer, and even though it would have been one cancer, but one cancer has many sides, has many different cancer effects. I don't know what you call it, but has many different forms of cancer. attached to one. They found a cure for that. In 1921, Albert Einstein won the Nobel Prize for creating photoelectric effect, creating energy. It's called quantum now, free energy. 1921. Now, like I said, where does the aliens come into it? You know those fields, those wheat fields that we see, all those designs in the wheat fields, you know, those circles, they call it the crop circles. Well, of course, me like many thought farmers or, you know, yahoos were going out in the middle of the night creating them, okay? And yes, they did create some, but the shape was too crude. Now, in all the crop fields that was created by, every circle was perfect. The actual crop wasn't flattened, wasn't killed when they were bent over to form that pattern, wasn't dead, it was still alive. But those patterns it was creating, you know, these whatever created it. If I say a spaceship, you're not going to believe me, but do your own investigation. Was a message. Like I said, and downloaded Thrive, it's a documentary. Sorry. And that's real news. Oh, I could talk about this forever and ever. But I've run out of time. Can anybody tell me, was there anybody after me? And I'll keep talking. No, I'll keep talking. Hang on, I've got a call. So, thanks, Joe. Like I said, you have these perfect crop circles. Over time, there has been reports of spaceships throughout the world. even in the artwork that is chiseled into the rocks, that is painted into the rocks decades ago, centuries ago. But you will find them there as well. What don't they tell us in the news? What are they keeping from us? Okay, I'm going to leave that part of aliens alone. Like I said, everybody do their own homework. Now, I'm only going to touch on these topics, okay? Because if I go too in depth, I'm going to be here all night. So I'm just going to touch on them. Now, the economy. Which comes down, you know that saying, follow the paper money. And you will find the answer. Well, this guy, Foster Gamble, he actually followed it. It's a wonder he wasn't. Yeah. The thing is, this guy was around when President wasn't Bush. I mean, I'm talking about senior, but it was the president before him. They actually wanted Foster Gamble to be in their think tank, okay? But he didn't want to be in their think tank. He didn't want to be one of their men. So he went the other way. You know, which really, it really sucks because I mean, over my lifetime, we didn't need power poles to generate power. We didn't need to be hooked up to the power company for power. The energy was already created. But like I said, everything comes back to the dollar. So Einstein was never, ever, ever going to be able to put his idea into fruition. That would have just saved so many people's lives. Because you can't collect money off a design that isn't hooked up into the grid. You can't charge a house if it is not hooked up to power lines, or the power source. So you take the idea away. You eradicate the idea and the inventor. You eradicate the scientists who develop vaccines, good vaccines, to eradicate diseases. I think that would be news. So you got all this anarchy going on. But like I said, we have an answer. Not the answer, but we have one of the answers. Now, yep, you're right, Joe. Nixon, Ronald Reagan. All puppet men. See, any president, prime minister is a puppet. We are the puppet to banks. The banks are puppets to governments. The governments are puppets to other things. I've forgotten the big oil companies. And then I think there's 7 layers of puppets. And then right at the top, you got those 3 families. There may be a couple of more, but they're not as bad as these 3. Now this is the thing, people. Even though the first Rockefeller, the first Morgan, and the first Rothschild is dead, long dead, they have created wealth so much that their bloodline will be living in wealth for decades to come. Because they will live the life of luxury of our blood, sweat, and tears. For decades, which means my great-grandson hasn't a hope. But I can, with TBC, I can make his life comfortable. Now, if you have 1 million multi-billionaires, don't you think that's going to be a punch at these ugly people right at the top? I'm sorry, I cannot think of a nice name. You have 1 million multi-billionaires and 1 billion multi-millionaires. I think we are able to nudge at the make a nudge at the top. You know that triangle where they say the 1%? They are the ones that pulls everybody's strings. Follow the money trail. Okay? Because money never lies. There's always even in banks, no matter what you are doing, a transaction, any transaction, it leaves a paper trail. Okay? That's the beauty thing about money. You can follow it. Now we're into cryptos. We follow the hash ID trail. Now here's the thing about cryptos and TBC. At the moment, these families ain't getting a cent out of it. They're probably working out how they can. How can they capitalize on what we have? I'm sure they're working out a way. They can't tax us. They can't shut us down. They can't charge us bank fees. They're probably working out how. So what is news? I know, and to me, TBC is financially, this is like the major thing. I know we have inventors out there that is trying to get the power source back up again. You know that guy who Elon Musk, you said he created that car? Hate to tell him, but that was created some time ago. So there's a lot of if only the news would just put a little bit of happiness out there. They might show something maybe once every so many days, but 99.9% of the time it's all gloom and gloom. And then what channel, what newspaper is not would actually tell you the truth for a change. So right now, Google is telling you the truth because it hasn't been monopolized by any one government at the moment. And the next best thing is YouTube. Everything goes on there. So that's free to get our source of information. And for YouTube, they show us where to go to get the real information. Anyway, enough of my doom and gloom. But at the end of the day, what is the news? I've stopped watching the news now. And concentrate on TBC. Because if anything, like I said, who was I telling? Who was a friend? And I said to her, it's not doom and gloom. The end times isn't coming. And she looked at me and I said, I believe the world will heal itself. And I believe TBC is one of the answers. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay? We know what to do. If you're watching me, then you're a builder. So we know what to do. We have one of the answers in our hands. We don't have all the answers because somewhere all the answers is there. We just have to know where to tap into it. Or maybe somebody else is looking for that other answer as well. Anyway, I'm going to end my my broadcast tonight. Sorry if I sounded like doom and gloom. But thank you for watching me. I don't know what my topic is going to be tomorrow, but I'll see you all again tomorrow. So this is Sharon Weller from Perth, Australia, saying good night for now. Bye.